The forest was silent, yet every leaf carried the echo of war. The human soldier named Ryan moved carefully through the mist, his boots sinking into the soft soil of the alien world. He had been trained for battles across many systems, but this world felt different. Something about the air smelled too alive, as if the land itself was watching him breathe. His squad had been separated during the ambush. The alien forces fought with a strange unity that humans had never seen before. Ryan had seen their silver blades cut through armor drones, their speed almost impossible to follow. Now he was alone, carrying a broken rifle and the weight of survival. Every step was both a hunt and a prayer. A sound came from the shadows. It was not the growl of a beast, but the sharp inhale of someone watching him. Ryan lifted his rifle, but his hands trembled with both fear and exhaustion. He whispered to himself that he must not die here, not in this forgotten valley. From the darkness, a figure stepped forward, tall and glowing under the pale light. She was unlike any enemy he had seen before. Her skin shimmered blue with faint marks that looked like silver flames. Her long white braids moved like streams of light as she walked closer. Armor shaped like ancient gold rested on her shoulders, and her eyes burned green with something more dangerous than anger. She looked at Ryan as if she had already measured his soul. Ryan steadied his weapon, though he felt his chest tighten. This was not just an alien warrior. This was a huntress, trained and raised for war. Yet her face showed more than rage. Her hand rested near her heart, and her lips moved as if she was holding back words. Ryan felt an odd fear, not of death, but of what she might say. Her voice finally cut the silence. "Human," she hissed, her tone sharp as a blade. She took another step, her eyes scanning him from head to toe. "Why do you smell like my nest?" The question froze Ryan where he stood. He had no idea what she meant, but the look in her eyes told him it was no ordinary insult. Her cheeks burned darker, her anger mixed with something else she could not hide. Ryan's heart pounded. He had never been accused of such a thing. He was just a soldier, far from his own world. Yet the huntress looked at him as if his very breath carried a memory that belonged to her. He lowered his rifle, though he did not trust her. The confusion in his mind grew heavier than the weapon in his hands. The huntress clenched her fists, her breathing sharp and uneven. She looked ready to strike, yet her body trembled as if caught in a secret she could not admit. Her people had fought humans for years, calling them invaders and thieves. Yet now she stood before one, questioning not his weapon, not his presence, but his scent. The war between their races was fierce, but something strange was about to begin. Ryan did not move. The words of the huntress still echoed in his mind. "Why do you smell like my nest?" She had not shouted it as a warrior cry, but as something broken, something confused. He could not answer, because even he did not know why she said it. The cave around them seemed to hold its breath, as if the rocks themselves wanted to hear his reply. The huntress stepped closer. Her emerald eyes narrowed, and her hand hovered near the curved blade at her waist. Ryan knew she could kill him in less than a heartbeat. Yet he also saw the tremble in her lips, the way her hand pressed against her chest, as if steadying a storm inside her. She was not only a soldier of her kind, she was something more, something tied to this strange place. Ryan forced himself to speak. His voice came out rough, almost broken from days without rest. "I don't know what you mean," he said. His words only deepened her stare. She tilted her head, studying him like prey she could not understand. For a moment, the silence between them was heavier than the war raging beyond the valley. Her armor glimmered under the faint light that spilled through cracks above the cave. Every detail of her body spoke of battle and pride, yet her face betrayed her. Shame burned on her cheeks, and her eyes refused to leave him. Ryan saw the conflict in her expression. She hated him as a human, yet something inside her told her that he belonged to a memory she should not hold. "Your scent is wrong," she whispered. Her words carried both anger and disbelief. "It is the scent of home. It is the scent of what I lost." She gripped her blade tighter, as if punishing herself for speaking. Ryan felt his chest tighten. He had fought many enemies, but never had he seen one break before the fight began. He wanted to step forward, yet every instinct warned him to stay still. He thought of his past missions. He had been deployed across dying worlds, across ruins where no life remained. But he had never touched their kind's sacred grounds, never walked into their nests. He tried to remember if he had come across anything strange in the valley. The thought of it made his heart race, for maybe he carried something that was never his to carry. The Huntress suddenly closed a distance. Her blade touched his chest plate, but she did not strike. Her breath was sharp and fast. Her eyes locked on his face as if searching for a lie. "You walk with the blood of my people," she said. "But you are not one of us." Ryan swallowed hard, realizing her rage was real, but so was her confusion. She looked as if she hated herself for not killing him on the spot. Ryan met her eyes. "If you want to kill me, then do it," he said. The words came out calm, but his body shook inside the armor. The Huntress flinched, as if his courage hurt her more than any weapon could. Her blade pressed harder, then stopped. She pulled back, but her hand did not let go of her weapon. Her body trembled, and her breath broke as she turned her face away. She spoke again, this time not as a soldier, but as a woman hiding a secret. "Human, there is something binding us, something I cannot name. You should not smell like my nest, yet you do, and that makes you more dangerous than an enemy." Her words struck Ryan like a hammer. The war outside no longer felt as heavy as the truth standing before him. Something ancient was unfolding in the shadow of their fight. The Huntress did not move for a long moment. Her blade rested at her side, but her eyes carried the storm of 1,000 battles. Ryan felt her gaze burn through him, searching for an answer that even he did not have. His body was tense, but he knew one mistake could turn this fragile pause into his death. The air inside the cave grew colder. Water dripped from the rocks above, each drop echoing like a countdown in the silence. Ryan tried to steady his breathing, but the smell of the earth and stone around him made him feel trapped. The Huntress stood taller, her armor gleaming as if the very light bowed to her presence. Finally, she spoke again, her voice sharp yet trembling. "You should not carry the mark of my people, and yet your scent betrays you. It tells me you are part of something that should not exist." She looked away as if the words were poison in her mouth. Ryan could not tell if she wanted to destroy him or protect him from some secret she carried. Ryan took a small step closer. His instincts told him she would kill him if he pushed too far, but he could not stand frozen forever. "Then tell me what it means," he said. His voice was firm, but his heart hammered inside his chest. She turned her eyes back to him, and in that instant he saw more than anger. He saw fear, a fear so deep it cracked the image of her as a flawless warrior. The Huntress lowered her blade, but did not sheath it. Her hand trembled against the hilt, and her lips pressed together as if sealing away truths. "If I tell you, then I betray my oath," she whispered. "If I hide it, then I betray my blood." The conflict in her words shook Ryan more than any weapon. This was no ordinary warrior. This was a woman torn between two worlds. Outside, the sound of distant explosions rolled through the valley. The war was still raging, and both sides fought without knowing what was happening in this cave. Ryan thought of his squad, perhaps scattered or dead, yet he could not turn away from this moment. Whatever bound him to this alien woman was stronger than orders and stronger than fear. He took another breath and asked quietly, "Why me?" The Huntress froze at the question. Her body stiffened, and for a moment Ryan thought she might strike him down. Instead, her eyes softened, though her voice still cut like a blade. "Because you're the first human I have ever met who carries a memory of my nest," she said. Her words fell heavy between them, impossible to ignore. Ryan did not understand, yet his heart told him it was no mistake. Something deeper was at play. He had been trained to fight enemies, but nothing prepared him for being tied to one. He saw the pain in her eyes and knew that this bond was real, no matter how much he wished it was not. His confusion turned into resolve. He would not back away from the truth. The Huntress finally stepped back, her armor catching the light like fire. "This war will not wait for us," she said. "But you, human, have become a part of something greater than war. You do not belong here, yet fate has placed you inside my story. And now, whether I wish it or not, I cannot kill you." Ryan felt his chest tighten as her words struck him harder than any blade could. The war outside was vast, but the real battle had only just begun. The Huntress turned her face away, but Ryan could see the tension in her shoulders. She was a warrior who had slain countless enemies, yet now she looked more burdened than ever. Her hands curled into fists, and her breathing was heavy with conflict. Ryan wondered if she hated him for existing, or hated herself for hesitating. He took a cautious step forward. The cave around them pulsed with faint blue light from crystals embedded in the walls. It felt as if the world itself was watching them, judging every word and every movement. Ryan's boots pressed against the stone, and the sound echoed like a drumbeat through the silence. The Huntress finally looked back at him. Her emerald eyes glowed with fire, but behind them rested an ache that could not be hidden. "You are bound to me," she said. "I do not know how. I do not know why. But your scent is the memory of my nest, and that means you are a danger to both our kinds." Her words were like arrows, sharp and certain, yet filled with sorrow. Ryan's throat felt dry. He wanted to argue, but he had nothing to give her. He could not explain something he himself did not understand. All he could do was stand tall and hold her gaze. "Then what will you do with me?" he asked. His voice was steady, though his heart raced. Her answer came not with words, but with a deep silence that seemed to carry more weight than sound. The distant thunder of war grew louder. Explosions shook the valley, and the cries of soldiers carried through the wind. Both human and alien blood was being spilled outside, yet here inside the cave the battle was different. This was not about armies or weapons. It was about fate, and it was about secrets neither side would accept. The Huntress stepped closer once again. Her armor glimmered with golden edges, and her braids swung lightly as she moved. She stopped just a breath away from Ryan, her presence both fierce and fragile. "If I protect you, my people will call me traitor," she said. "If I kill you, something in me will die too." Her confession was soft but carried the sharpness of truth. Ryan clenched his fists. He had been trained to survive, to fight, to obey orders without question. But this moment was beyond training. He felt a strange pull toward her, a thread tying him to a life he did not know. "Then maybe we should find the truth together," he said. The words surprised even him, yet they felt right. Her eyes widened slightly, as if she had not expected such courage from him. For the first time, her blade lowered fully. She sheathed at her side, though her hand lingered near the hilt. Trust did not come easily, not to a warrior of her kind. But something inside her told her she could not turn away from this human. She whispered, "The truth will destroy us both. Human, but perhaps destruction is better than living a lie." Her voice carried both warning and hope. Outside, the sound of war drew closer. Ryan and the Huntress could hear the clash of weapons and the roar of fire. The cave would not stay hidden for long. Their moment of fragile peace was nearly over. Yet as Ryan looked at her, he no longer saw only an enemy. He saw a partner in a secret neither of them had chosen. The path before them was uncertain, but it was now their path to walk together. The Huntress lifted her head as the ground trembled. The echoes of war outside grew sharper, and both human and alien voices filled the night with cries of pain. Ryan felt the urgency building inside his chest. They had only a few moments left before soldiers from either side discovered the cave. The fragile thread of peace between them could be broken in an instant. Ryan gripped his broken rifle tighter. It was almost useless now, but it gave him something to hold, something to remind him he was still a soldier. He looked at the Huntress, her posture strong but her eyes clouded with conflict. She did not want him dead, yet she did not know how to protect him. He realized she was as trapped in this moment as he was. The Huntress spoke with quiet strength. "If they find us together, both sides will call us traitors. My people will cut me down before I can speak. Your soldiers will never trust you again." She paused, her gaze heavy on him. "Do you understand, human? We are enemies by oath, yet fate has made us more." Her words struck him deeply, carrying both danger and truth. Ryan nodded slowly. He had fought many battles where the enemy was clear, where orders were simple. But here, nothing was simple. He said, "Then maybe it is time someone broke the oath. If both sides keep fighting, nothing will be left." The Huntress stared at him, her lips parting slightly as if surprised to hear such words from a human soldier. For a heartbeat, her eyes softened. The walls of the cave shook as a blast hit somewhere nearby. Dust rained from above, and the sound of rushing footsteps echoed from outside. Ryan turned his head sharply, his instinct screaming that enemies were near. The Huntress drew her blade, the golden edge catching the flicker of light. She stood ready, but not against him. This time, she was ready to fend them both. 3 alien warriors appeared at the mouth of the cave. Their armor was dark, their blades drawn, and their eyes locked on Ryan instantly. The Huntress stepped in front of him without hesitation, her voice cutting through the tension. "He is mine," she declared. The words were fierce, filled with command, but Ryan caught the trembling edge beneath them. The warriors froze, uncertain of her meaning. One of the aliens snarled, "A human? Why protect him? Kill him now and honor your blood." Their voices were sharp, carrying the weight of tradition and rage. The Huntress raised her chin higher, her blade gleaming as she held her ground. "I said he is mine," she repeated. Her defiance sent shock to her kin, but none dared move closer. Ryan felt his heart pound at her side. The standoff held for long moments. Then the warriors exchanged glances and slowly lowered their blades. Their eyes burned with suspicion and anger, but they did not challenge her further. One spat on the ground before turning away. The others followed, vanishing into the mist outside. The Huntress let out a slow breath, her shoulders loosening, but her blade remained in her grip. She had chosen a path she could never walk back from. Ryan looked at her, his voice low but filled with weight. "You risked everything." The Huntress turned to him, her expression unreadable. "No," she said, "I have not risked everything yet, but I will, because the truth that binds us is greater than their laws." Her words carried a finality that shook Ryan to his core. The war was no longer only outside. It was inside them, and it had just begun to change. The Huntress stood silent after the warriors left. Her blade was still drawn, though her hand shook faintly. Ryan watched her with careful eyes, trying to understand what had just happened. She had defied her own kind to protect him, and now there was no way back for her. She was no longer a warrior of her people. She was something else entirely. Ryan stepped closer, lowering his broken rifle. "You chose me over them," he said. His voice carried both confusion and gratitude. The Huntress did not look at him at first. Instead, she stared into the darkness outside the cave, where the shadows of war painted the horizon. Finally, she turned, her emerald eyes flashing. "I chose the truth," she said. "And the truth is you are tied to me, human. That bond cannot be undone." The words sank deep into Ryan's chest. He had never believed in fate, never trusted in anything but training in steel. Yet here was a warrior who had risked everything because of a bond she herself could not explain. He felt the weight of her choice pressing on his shoulders. It was not only her fate now, it was his as well. The Huntress sheathed her blade with a sharp click. Her movements were graceful, but her body was tense, as if every muscle fought against the decision she had made. She whispered, "The others will return. Next time, they will not leave without blood. We must move before dawn." Ryan nodded, his instincts telling him the same. He did not know where they would go, but staying here meant death. They left the cave in silence. The valley outside was scarred with fire, smoke curling into the night sky. The cries of soldiers echoed from far away, but this part of the battlefield lay abandoned for the moment. Ryan followed her steps carefully, watching the way her braided hair gleamed in the moonlight. She moved like a predator, yet there was fragility in her pace that only he could see. After a long walk to the ruins of the forest, Ryan finally asked, "What happens if your people find us again?" She slowed her steps but did not stop. "Then they will kill me first, and you second," she said. "Unless I kill them first. But even victory will not save us. Their eyes will always search for me and for you." Her tone carried no fear, only certainty. Ryan felt his chest grow heavier with every word. They stopped by a stream that ran quietly between jagged stones. The Huntress knelt, cupping water in her hands, and let it fall across her face. For the first time, Ryan saw the exhaustion in her movements. She was strong, but strength had limits. She whispered, "I was born to hunt humans. I was trained to hate you, but now I cannot hate you. And that is the greatest danger of all." Ryan listened, his heart twisting at her honesty. He crouched near her, resting his hands on his knees. "If we are bound, then we need to know why," he said. His words carried a quiet resolve. She looked at him with narrowed eyes, studying him as though weighing his worth. Finally, she nodded once. "There is a place," she said, "an ancient hall hidden deep within the mountains. My people say it holds the first memories of our kind. If we go there, perhaps we will find the truth." Her voice carried both hope and dread. Ryan agreed without hesitation. The truth was dangerous, but living without it was worse. He looked at the dark mountains in the distance, their peaks like sharp blades against the stars. The path ahead was uncertain, and every step could bring death. Yet as he walked beside her, he no longer felt alone. He was no longer just a soldier. He was part of something greater, something that could change the fate of both their worlds. The mountains loomed larger with every step. Ryan followed the Huntress through narrow paths lined with jagged rocks, the cold air cutting across his skin. The war cries behind them grew faint, swallowed by the vast silence of the peaks. Each step forward felt heavier, not only from the climb, but from the unknown truth that waited ahead. The Huntress moved quickly, her golden armor catching the pale glow of the moon. She had the grace of predator, yet Ryan saw the tension in her movements. Her people hunted her now as much as they hunted him. She was no longer just a warrior, but an exile carrying secrets she did not want to speak. Ryan felt the weight of her silence pressing between them. At dawn, they reached a plateau where broken pillars jutted from the ground like bones. The air shimmered faintly, as though the land itself remembered battles long forgotten. The Huntress stopped and touched one of the stones with her hand. Her voice was low, almost reverent. "This was once the gate to the first nest," she said. "Our oldest memory lies beyond these mountains. If the truth exists, it waits inside." Her words were both promise and warning. Ryan stepped beside her, studying the cracked pillars. They looked ancient, older than human history, carved with symbols that glowed faintly when touched by the morning light. He felt a strange pull in his chest, as if the stones themselves recognized him. He rubbed his temples, confusion heavy in his mind. "Why do I feel this?" he asked. The Huntress stared at him with wide eyes but said nothing. They pressed onward, climbing higher into the mountains. The path narrowed, forcing them close together, their breaths visible in the thin air. Ryan's legs ached, but he pushed forward, his resolve stronger than the pain. The Huntress did not speak, though he caught her glancing at him more than once. Each glance was filled with a mixture of fear and something softer, something she tried to bury. By nightfall, they reached the mouth of a massive cavern carved into the heart of the mountain. Faint light poured from within, flickering like fire though no flame burned there. The Huntress stopped and turned to Ryan. Her hand gripped his arm, her eyes fierce. "If we enter, there is no return. The truth may break us both. Are you ready?" Her question cut deep, but Ryan nodded without hesitation. Together they stepped inside. The cavern walls glowed with streams of silver light that pulsed like veins. Strange markings covered every surface, shifting as if alive. Ryan felt his skin prickle, his heart pounding louder than his footsteps. The Huntress walked ahead, her hand brushing the glowing symbols. Her expression was a storm of pride, fear, and longing. "This is the memory of my kind," she whispered. "Every life, every bond, recorded here." Her words echoed through the chamber. As they walked deeper, a great hall opened before them. A massive crystal rose from the center, its light flooding the room with brilliance. Ryan shielded his eyes, but when he lowered his hand, he froze. Inside the crystal, shadows moved, shapes forming like memories caught in glass. He saw images of nests, of warriors, of ancient battles. And then he saw something that made his blood run cold. A human stood among them, marked with the same silver flames as the Huntress. The Huntress gasped, her hand clutching her chest. Her body trembled as she looked from the crystal to Ryan. "It cannot be," she said. Her voice cracked with disbelief. "Humans were never part of this. Yet the crystal remembers you. It remembers your scent." Ryan felt the weight of her words crash over him like thunder. The bond between them was no accident. It was history itself, carved into the blood of their worlds. Ryan stood frozen before the crystal. The shifting memories within its core reflected the impossible truth. Humans were not strangers to this place. Long ago, they had walked here, bound to the alien people by something deeper than war or peace. The silver flames etched into the crystal danced across his reflection, and he felt his breath falter. The Huntress stared at him as though he had become both a curse and a miracle. Her voice trembled as she spoke. "This is forbidden. Our history was rewritten. We were told humans came as invaders. We were told you were thieves of our land. But the crystal does not lie. It says you were part of us." Her emerald eyes shone with fury and shame. Ryan could see the war inside her heart. She had fought to destroy his kind, yet now the truth left her unmoored. Ryan stepped closer to the crystal, his hand reaching out. The light pulsed brighter at his touch, filling the chamber with warmth. A memory poured into his mind. He saw figures, human and alien, standing together, sharing the same nests, fighting the same battles. They were not enemies then. They were one people. The war had been born from lies that twisted truth into hatred. The Huntress staggered back, her breath ragged. She pressed a hand against the wall, her body shaking. "If this truth leaves this hall, everything will change," she whispered. "My people will kill me for betraying them. Your people will not believe you. The war will not end easily. But if we keep it hidden, the lie continues." Her words fell heavy, and Ryan knew the choice was upon them. He turned to her, his eyes steady. "Then we tell it," he said, "even if it costs us both. We cannot let the lies rule forever. If humans and your kind were once one, then we can be again." His voice carried not only courage but also conviction. The Huntress stared at him, her lips parting as her shame gave way to something stronger. For the first time, she allowed herself to hope. The ground trembled as the mountains shook with distant blasts. Soldiers had followed them. Shadows appeared at the cavern's entrance, human and alien warriors storming in. Weapons were raised, voices sharp with rage. Yet Ryan did not move back. The Huntress drew her blade, but instead of striking, she lifted it high, pointing toward the crystal. "Look," she commanded. Her voice rang with the force of truth. The soldiers halted, their eyes drawn to the glowing crystal. Its light spilled across the hall, revealing the shared history etched in its core. Murmurs rippled through the ranks. Some growled in disbelief. Others stared in silence, their grips on their weapons loosening. The crystal's memories left no room for denial. The lie that fed their hatred was crumbling before their eyes. Ryan stepped forward, his voice carrying across the chamber. "We were one once. We can be one again. This war is not destiny. It is deception." His words echoed, striking to the noise of conflict. The Huntress stood beside him, her emerald eyes burning with strength. She raised her blade once more, not to kill, but to mark the moment. "He speaks truth. I will stand with him. Will you stand against your own blood?" Her challenge silenced them. The hall filled with tension, but no blade struck. Slowly, weapons lowered. The truth had taken root, and no commander's order could erase it now. Ryan looked at the Huntress, her face fierce yet softened by relief. She had snarled at him once, demanding why he smelled like her nest. Now she knew, because he was part of her people's lost memory, and she was part of his future. Together, they had found the truth that could end the war.